Hey everybody, it is Ken with KG's Books. It's been a while since I did a video, but I'm really excited to show you these books. All stuff on Freemasonry. Some really early and collectible stuff in here, some very rare stuff. I'm very excited to show you these books. A lot of them will be up for sale on eBay. I'm Animal Vet 52 over on eBay and whatnot. I do book auctions on both of those sites. Some of these will be buy it nows and some will be auctions coming up in the near future. Keep an eye on my eBay or send me a message if there's something you are interested in. Keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is pretty rare and valuable, so it might not be extremely cheap. But let's show you some of the stuff. Here you have the craft and its symbols. Oh, and it is is it signed by the author? I do believe. Nope, not signed by the author, but it was given as a gift in 1986. The Craft and its Symbols, Opening the Door to Masonic Symbolism by Alan E. Roberts. Something like that will probably be up for auction on eBay or whatnot in the next couple weeks. Here you have the History of Freemasonry, Volume 2. I think there's Volume 1 in one of these boxes here somewhere. The History of Freemasonry and Masonic Digest by J.W.S. Mitchell. This is Volume 2, no date. Circa 1890s probably on that one. You have The Principles of Freemasonry by M.R. Grant, published in 1920. I'm going to try to fly through this. I got 6 boxes. This is an absolutely incredible book. You have the Masonic Review, Volume 52 right here. Very incredible stuff. Looks like this one was 1879. Very nice old Freemasonry book right here. Incredible condition. There you got Mr. Benjamin Franklin. Great looking leather book. What do we have? Legenda, however you want to say that. I don't see a date on that one. Not too sure about that one. I'm sure it's pretty cool and rare. Here you have History of Initiation. Great looking book. It does have the label on the spine, unfortunately. Otherwise, this one's very nice condition. I think most of these came from one Freemason's collection. The History of Initiation in 12 lectures by Reverend George Oliver. This is $18.99. Pretty darn great condition for $18.99. Let's see, what do we have here? Freemasonry Monitor. This is a pretty darn early one. This one published in 1865, The Freemasons' Monitor or Illustrations of Masonry by Thomas Smith Webb. Pretty darn good condition for 1859. There's another one of those legendas. Here is the Documents Upon Sublime Freemasonry by Joseph McCosh. Originally published in 1823, I'm assuming. Yep, this is a early 1900s reprint of that title. Here you have Traditions of Freemasonry with a little ribbon. Calumet, Wisconsin. The Traditions of Freemasonry by A.T.C. Pearson, 1865. Very respectable book right here. That hopefully that label would maybe clean up for you. Here you have Swedenborg and Freemasonry. Again, really early stuff in very good condition. 1870. Very good condition, probably except the spine label and the ownership markings. But again, owned by a Freemason. I think they all came from Robert Inglis's collection. He had a pretty darn incredible collection here. Again, very clean copies, except for those darn labels. He had to label his books. A Manual of the Lodge of Perfection, Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 1871. So pretty early for, I mean, not the earliest, but for Freemasonry stuff, the early 1800s was when they definitely started printing more books on the topic. Here you have the book of chapter or monitorial instructions in which the degrees of Mark, Past and Most Excellent Master, and the Holy Royal Arch by Albert G. Mackey. No date on this one. I'm guessing that one might be 1860s, 1870s, based on the style of the binding. Again, great condition, except for those darn spine labels, but not a huge deal. I mean, they were owned by a Freemason from the early 1900s, so not the end of the world to have that provenance. The Lights and Shadows of Masonry, 1870 on that one. Again, very, very clean stuff. Nice tight bindings and hinges. Again, it was very cool to find a collection this early. It was a it was a very expensive purchase, so I definitely can't let these go for nothing. The Masonic Directory Encyclopedia of History, 1885. Again, when you can find them this clean from this era, they're going to be on the higher end as far as price. But I think these will all sell very quickly. Here you have Morals and Dogma. What is this? Is this some kind of... I don't see a title page. Morals and Dogma. I've never seen. Is that some sort of salesman's copy? I don't know. But it doesn't have a title page on that one. That one's kind of a mystery in itself. New Awakening Songs. Very, very cool stuff. It's tough to find this Freemasonry stuff and to find early stuff that's this nice. This is just a church hymn book. Don't know too much about that one. Oh, here is a great, great, great early edition of Morals and Dogma with the purple, the royal purple binding. That's a little tougher to find, I do believe. Morals and Dogma of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. Let's see if there's a date on this one. Not all of these were dated. It's copyright 1871. I don't know if this is the 1871 edition, though. I'll have to do a little research on that one. Here you have Volume 2 of the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry. There's a lot of Encyclopedia of Freemasonry sets in this collection. That one I'll probably auction off. Usually brings, 125 to 150. Wow, cryptic masonry. Some of this stuff is very, very, very rare. Cryptic Masonry, A Manual of the Council by Albert G. Mackey. Again, this one's copyright 1867. I do believe that may be an 1867 edition right there. Very, very clean stuff overall. And again, check out my eBay page and my whatnot page. Some of these will be buy it nows, and some of them will be auctions, probably starting in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. Masonic Laws and Practice by Luke A. Lockwood. Copyright 1867 on that one. Nice clean edition of Freemasonry Illustrated. This one was published in 1895. Great illustrated book on Freemasonry, all of the rites and symbols and stuff like that. All of their rituals. All right, 2 more in this box. You have Masonic Service for Burial of the Dead and the Wisconsin Monitor. Very cool Wisconsin Freemasonry. I do believe this man was a Freemason up in northern Wisconsin. Let's see, I think, Bayfield, Wisconsin. I think that's way up north. And that's where, kind of the area that I bought this collection at. Very, very cool stuff. It's not too often I get this kind of volume of Freemasonry stuff, so it was pretty exciting. It was a very expensive purchase, but this stuff is awesome. Absolutely awesome stuff right here. All right. Oh, forgot to put that one in the box. Oh, this is a huge set of the history of Freemasonry. I forget if that's like a 7 or 8 volume set, maybe more. Huge, huge set. I believe that one is complete. That one will probably be a buy it now on eBay. These big sets usually run kind of in the $300 to $400 range. I think a lot of those sets are. All right, we have some more old stuff. Oh, with the original little ribbon from a previous owner. Very cool. Bayfield Lodge number 215. Free and accepted Masons. Very cool little ribbon from the original owner. Worshipful Master's Assistant, 1885. Pretty early for Freemasonry stuff. And again, except for that darn label, pretty nice. But I mean, it does have the provenance of the original owner, which is pretty cool. Lots of little booklets and stuff like that. Robert's Rules of Order. Nice leather edition. All right, what the heck is this one? Some kind of cryptic Freemason language type thing. Written memetics illustrated by the copious examples of moral philosophy, science, and religion. In wowza. I think the Freemasons had their own secret language. So I assume this has something to do with their language. Cool little leather pocketbook. No date. This one, it seems pretty early. I don't know. Late 1800s maybe on that one. Nice little pocketbook. The Masonic Vocal Manual. 1875. Very cool to have stuff from that era. Introduction to Freemasonry. There's volume 3, volume 2. I assume there's a volume 1 in there somewhere. Sure hope so. Again, lots of little booklets like this. Bunches of booklets. Preparation, a whole ton, the story of Freemasonry in the U.S. A lot of duplicates, tons of duplicates of that one. Lots of ephemeral type stuff, little brochures. These aren't all that old. Lots of little brochures, huge collection of brochures. All right, we got another little, looks like a standard monitor by Cook, a little leather pocketbook right here. Incredible condition on this stuff. Again, oh, this was, got the original owner's inscription right there, dated 1879. Absolutely incredible. The standard monitor of Freemasons Vade Mecum. I don't know, copyright 1876. I have no idea how to say that word. I've definitely sold lots of medical books with that title, but I don't have the slightest idea how to say it properly. Looks like you got a couple little New Testament Bibles. Monitorial instructions for symbolic lodges. Take a look at that one. Dated 1819. Cool World War I era Freemasonry book. You got another Wisconsin monitor. You have burial service. Ooh, here's an old one. Freemasonry degrees. Monitor of the Ancient and Accepted Rite, 1871. Again, this stuff is very, very clean except for spine labels. Not much you can do. That's okay. Cool old Bible. I assume this also came from... Yep. Oh, wow, this is cool. With the property of the Bayfield Lodge, number 215 of the accepted Freemasons. Very cool old Bible from the Freemasonry, Wisconsin Freemasonry Lodge. Masonry and Citizenship by John J. Lanier, 1921. Again, I'll show you my eBay page and whatnot page. That most of these will be up either as buy it nows or auctions. I start everything at $1 for the auction, so I got to be a little careful. I paid a lot for this collection, so I can't necessarily afford everything to sell cheap. If you know Freemasonry books, you know some of this stuff is unbelievably expensive. Lectures of a Chapter, Senate, and Council, 1882. The Master Mason, Speculative Masonry by Lanier. You got another Wisconsin monitor. Another Wisconsin monitor. Another Wisconsin monitor. Looks like you got a whole bundle of Wisconsin monitors. Absolutely incredible stuff. If you collect Freemasonry stuff, you know how good this is. Nice little leather pocketbook, the Freemasonry monitor. Looks like they taped that up, so there's a repair on this one. Got the original owner's name right there. This is an early one. The Mason's monitor containing the degrees of Freemasonry, edited by Daniel Sickles. Copyright 1864 on that one. I do believe this is a original antique one from the 1860s. Nice illustrated leather Freemasonry book. Very, very cool piece of Freemasonry history right here. Civil War era on that one. All right, this is a different organization, I believe. Yep, the Ritual of the Order of the Eastern Star. Similar to Freemasonry, but a little different. More brochures. Our Lodge Portrait Gallery by Roe Fulkerston. Looks like a couple of those. The Double Doctrine of the Church of Rome. Masonic Ritual described, compared, and explained. The History of Masonry. Again, very, very clean stuff right here. Except for the ownership markings. 1914 on that one. Again, some of this stuff is really, really early, mid-1800s. The Bosant, a manual for the use of the Knights Templar by John W. Simmons, 1874. Absolutely incredible stuff. Very, very cool. Some more ephemera type stuff. Guild Masonry in the Making. Got a bunch more of those. Songs of the Craft. Okay, this is part of the Dollar Masonic Library. Maybe I'll put a bundle of those together. Wisconsin Masonic Homes. Ooh, this one is cool. Oh, the Encyclopedia, early edition of the Encyclopedia by Mackey. Very nice leather-bound edition. Pretty darn solid. I'm sure most copies of these are nice heavy books. The cover hinges are almost always splitting, but these are solid. Looks like the inside hinges were glued a little bit. An Encyclopedia of Freemasonry by Albert G. Mackey. Illustrated, 1879 publication date on this one. Pretty darn early. That's a great one. Great piece of Freemasonry history right there. I've sold some of those. I don't think I've ever had a leather-bound one. And usually the cover hinges are splitting pretty bad on most of the copies I've seen. So that was a pretty cool find. Whoever, the previous owners of these books definitely took amazing care of them. Oops, forgot this ephemera. Again, feel free to keep an eye on my eBay or send me a message if there's something you're interested in. Just do a little research. You know this stuff isn't going to necessarily be cheap. I know there's a lot of $100, $200 books probably in this collection. Here you have this one has some loose pages. You might be able to clean that up and tighten that binding a little bit. You have the General Ahim Rezon and Freemasonry Guides, 1881 on that one. Again, a few slightly loose pages on that one. Looks like here's a different fraternal order type book. The Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. Copyright 1903 on that one. Interesting book. The AAONMS. Oh, this is cool. Masonic Music Service Lodge and Chapter by M.H. Morgan. Copyright 1881 on that one. And okay, you got two of them, duplicates. Again, these booklets just did not survive in good condition. Those are probably pretty rare in this condition. And again, they were just booklets, so they weren't made to survive forever. And most of them probably got thrown away. You have the new Masonic Musical Manual. That one's pretty cool. 1898 on that one. It is a first edition. Very cool. Masonic Musical Manual. Let's see what else we have. This is the Man of Mount Moriah. Don't know too much about this one. Here's a nice clean copy of Morals and Dogma. See if there's a date. I might auction these off. This is 1966, so that's a pretty modern edition. Here's a older edition. Very clean copy. This one looks like 1917, so pretty early. I think the first edition was the 1870s. The Masonic Code and Monitor for Wisconsin. Ooh, this one's good. The History Encyclopedia of Freemasonry, nice leather-bound edition. Very, very respectable copy. Again, these books are kind of heavier, so the cover hinges didn't always hold up very well. This one was published in 1908. Looks like it is an illustrated edition. Very nice. What is going on there with that paper? I don't know. I think that paper will come off nice and easily. Sermons by Reverend Charles Henry Platt, 1872. Oh, published by the Masonic Furnishing Company. So this one does have some Masonic contents, and then again by that same owner. You have the Encyclopedia of Freemasonry 2-volume set right here, volume 1 and 2, and actually, like I said, there's a lot of these Freemasonry encyclopedias. I will probably auction a lot of them off just because they always get a lot of interest. Again, volume 1 and 2 right there. Two 2-volume sets of that one. All right, 2 more boxes. Let's see what we have here. Here's volume 1 of this History of Freemasonry set. Volume 2 was in one of the other boxes. Here's some more volumes of this big set. There might be some duplicates, so I might have some extras of that set and just auction them off individually in case anyone's looking for some odd volumes of that set. All right, our last box. You got some, okay, what is this? The Mackey's Revised History of Freemasonry. That's volume 4, volume 2, volume 5, volume 6, volume 1, volume 3, and down there is volume, let's see, what's that last one? Volume 7. Complete in 7 volumes, maybe? A list of regular lodges Masonic. This book is to be kept in each lodge for reference in receiving visitors and the applications of affiliation. The Jews and Masonry in the U.S. before 1810. Wow, that's quite a title on that one. Proceedings of the Grand Lodge of Wisconsin, 2014, 2013. The Guild Charters, again, that's not a swastika. That's an Indian symbol. Ancient Indian symbol. It's not a swastika. The Ancient Constitutional Charges of the Guild of Freemasons, edited by John Yarker, 1909 on that one. Forward Freemasonry, volume 1 and 2. And 2 copies of volume 2. It looks like we got an extra. Ooh, this is a killer clean copy. Very, very clean. I know you can get beat up copies of this one for like 30, 40, 50 bucks. But a nice copy is going to be more expensive. Just so y'all know. This is the History of the Ancient and Honorable Fraternity of Free and Accepted Masons, illustrated, 1891 on that one. Absolutely great, clean copy. Again, a beat-up copy you can find pretty cheap. A nice copy like this is going to be a little more pricey. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, one last time, feel free to check out my book auctions on eBay and whatnot. Most of these, I'll probably list these as buy it nows. I'll probably work on that today. But feel free to send me a message if you're interested in anything. Again, this good old stuff probably might not be on the cheaper side of Freemasonry books, but it's cool. I'll price everything pretty reasonable based on sold comparables. Thank you so much for watching.